That was stupid. I have to do this again. I should. I still say this is the finest written material on the planet today. Okay? Great magazine. You don't have to own Sheep to enjoy it. I think they come out every 2 months. It's like $25. You can find them online at countrysidenetworks.com. I did this video I stated this a little bit ago, and I accidentally showed my name and address. Okay, stupid. Anyhow, great. All joking aside, it's a great magazine. It's really well done. Great information. If whatever trade you're into or whatever, if it could be done as well as this guy here pulls it off. This is the editor guy. This photo's always kind of cute. That's the editor right there. Anyhow, great magazine. Did a video yesterday. Never uploaded it. I was going to upload it today, just never got around to it. It was too long. So I'm just going to summarize the whole thing. I had some conversations with a friend of mine. Saw something on the news. Saw something in a video. And if you think, say, this country, I talk about our culture a lot, so it's our culture. If you think, oh, this country's going to hell in a handbag, we've gone too far, there's no turning back, whatever we are now, whatever pop culture is now, there's no unwinding this thing. I used to think like that, but I don't anymore. But if that's where you're thinking, I want to make a prediction. I don't think that's the case. Okay, so I heard a guy on the radio talking about a political change where there's going to be a conservative enlightenment, or what I would call a revival, back to conservatism. I don't necessarily see that politically. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about culture, pop culture and all that. Whatever the popular culture is at the time. What are people doing? I look at it from the point of a pendulum. The pendulum has swung all the way in one direction. It's reached its peak, and it's preparing to swing back the other way. Okay? So what am I talking about? We're going to return to something else. It won't be the same as before, but I think people are sick and tired of the aggressive arrogance, the profanity, the anything goes, say whatever you want, act however you want, behave just poorly, and somehow it's okay. I think people are sick of that. Okay? And I'm not picking on people with tattoos. Kind of. But, you know, I see grandmothers walking around completely tatted out with their grandkids, dropping the F-bomb left and right. I'm like, you know, I remember grandmas were like Aunt B, okay? And I think there still are, but we've got this other culture. There are people that have taken off of this culture and have just maxed it out. Okay, you don't. Where I come from, you go back, even in the early '90s. You're not going to go to a restaurant and someone's going to serve you with colorful tattoos all up in their arm, coming out of their shirt up the side of their head. This person's not going to serve your table. Okay, now the manager looks like that. Okay, those things just weren't. That wasn't done then. Okay. And then just attitudes of a lot of people. Just the profanity, the the F word is just completely, it's harmless now. It's to be used in any, form of conversation. I mean, if you brought somebody to your house and your mother was there, most people kind of knew, oh, hello, Mrs. So-and-so, and, it wasn't like a rap video kind of thing. But I think people are tired of that. I think the culture, the masses are going to start going back the other direction. Because I think it's just a natural cycle of things. I don't think, if you look at, I had friends that were part of the the Jesus freaks, the Jesus, back in the '60s, and then it turned into the hippies and the Haight-Ashbury and all that stuff, got all wild. But and then society did kind of recover from that. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, we're not the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all this kind of thing. There was a backlash and went back the other way. That movement did not continue on and grow. Yeah, there's still people of that, but they were left behind. The culture left them behind. Okay, it's like, okay, we saw that, we tasted that, we experimented that, a little too far. Back to the other side. And I think that's where we're headed again. My dogs are fighting out there. But I've had a friend of mine say, "Oh, I just think we're going to hell in a handbag." I said, "No, I don't think so. Not at this point. But I think things are going to return back to a more, I don't want to say normal, but it won't be, and I don't mean conservative in the sense of politics, but we're going back towards a more conservative themed lifestyle kind of thing. I actually think political correctness, we'll just go back to just not saying certain things like it was before. And if a good way to look at what we're doing now, the way people speak, the way they act, there are no taboos. There are no taboos, okay? But what happened with all this freedom of expression, what we no longer have as this massive group is any class. We have no class. When's the last time you heard that? Hey, you got some class there. You don't even know what that word is. Okay? When I grew up, that meant, those people, that's the classy folks. Oh, they got class. Or, she's a classy woman. You wouldn't catch her doing it, kind of thing. There's no class anymore. It's, we've shown it all, said it all, did it all, and just like an old worn out tire, nothing to celebrate, We've pushed all the envelopes, all the standards and everything, and it's just left, naked and used, I guess. I don't want to get too philosophical, but I think we're returning to a more conservative theme, narrative, agenda, whatever you want to call it. And I think there'll be people that will fight it, and they'll be left behind. Many will become, they'll just be freaks of the past. And I said, I don't mean to pick on people, but there'll be those that fight it. And I'm not saying, I don't live any kind of a lifestyle that, they'll come back to my way of living. I am no example. But I don't see us, I see big change coming, like in the next 5 years. Because I think, look at Hollywood. Hollywood is Hollywood's coming apart. Hollywood has a huge effect on pop culture because that's Hollywood's job. Music, movies, this kind of thing. And, young people, stupid, they kind of fall into this stuff. But I think the average person that's, once you got a mortgage, maybe some kids, you've been around a little bit, you're looking at this stuff like, I ain't following that. So I think more and more people are kind of waking up to the idea that, okay, we've been over here too long. This is just, Burning Man is an event out in the desert once a year. That's not a daily routine that, you're going to, you leave that there and you don't take it home with you. But that's my prediction. I think the pendulum is swinging the other way. And here's something else, because we're a cyclical animal. We're just human that way. As the pendulum has maxed out over here, guess what it'll do? Eventually it will max out over here on this side, and we'll go back to Puritan ways, and we'll burn people on a cross for, crossing the street wrong or something like that. We'll take it too far, because that's what we do. But I think it'll be a long time before we get to that. Like I said, I don't think the current pop culture we're dealing with now, and there's actually many cultures, so there's not just one culture. And when I say culture, preppers, that's a culture. Bikers, Harley guys, that's a culture. Knitting clubs, that's a culture. Okay, FFA is a culture. Football, and people that watch all that, that's a culture. See, but we're going to change. I think things we're going to get nicer, less profane. But I could be wrong. Anyhow, this almost gone too long. Once again, without my name being on there, plug for my favorite magazine of all time, Sheep. Pretty simple. Love you, God bless.